All right, what it do? What it do? This is your brother Bishop of Bishop's on TV. And I got a special guest with me this evening.
Yeah,
This brother right here is super talented, super dope. He's from the hometown, U-Town, so the brother is official. And not
yeah,
only is he from the
so
hometown, but the brother he's sort of like me. I mean, I'm not saying just great minds think alike. Where this brother is outspoken, very outspoken. Sometimes he can be controversial, just like me. But the brother's it's pure heart. Pure heart, pure strength. Very positive brother too, and very, he's an artist too. He's an artist as well, jack of all trades. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself because no one can do it better but him. So let's give it up for my brother Yahlik right here, man. Shouts out to you. Introduce yourself to the people, man.
yeah, I appreciate you, big homie, man. My name is Yahlik from Longview, Texas. I am an artist. I'm an art teacher now in DeSoto school districts. So one of the things I like to do with my students is explain to them how art can basically set them free. I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'm in the schoolhouse telling them that the reason why they devalue art is because they're trying to lock your brain up and teach you how to be a worker.
Hmm.
But if you don't want to do that, you need to take this class seriously and learn how to do certain things that you feel like you can't and develop your confidence so you can go out here and create your own lane. So technically the art that I got my degree in is filmmaking and photography. So that's the thing that I focus on. But I really like creating in any way possible, to be honest.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
started off with, technically, I tell my students I started off hooping. I put my creative mind into playing basketball. And then it went from there to rapping. And then it went from there into I picked up a camera and the rest is history.
Oh, and for the record, y'all forgot to mention that. Yeah, my brother used to spit. He can spit too. I know he cold behind the lens, but the man can spit too.
Yeah.
For y'all don't know. Matter of fact, if you don't mind me plugging real quick your channel, so they can see some of your work and the fact that you used to spit every now and then. Your YouTube channel is
Yeah.
tagged
What is that? That's Bomani TV
Mo Money
on
TV.
Bomani TV on YouTube. That's
Okay.
where one of my most successful films you was the narrator for, the best team ever.
Oh man,
The
we gonna get into that. We gonna get
documentary
into
about the football culture in our hometown. And I started off by asking the question, why are we consistently dominant? Why is our city like Longview is an all time Longview High School is tied for number one in the state of Texas for having the most NFL players.
that. Yeah.
How are we that dominant and consistently when we're so small and we lack resources?
Right.
So I asked the question and I went on a journey of trying to find the answer. And you helped me with that film, and I appreciate that.
Oh, hey man, I appreciate you for allowing me to be such a part of a historic documentary, especially during a historic year for our high school too at that time, because that was when we won state. We had won state
Perfect
since
time.
what 1920 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
long
was
time.
somewhere around there.
And that one don't even count because they ain't let us play at that time. So
You're right. Yeah, we couldn't even play. So what I'm saying, we
yeah,
couldn't even play. So yeah, you're right about that. So man, before we get into that, man, I just want to hear your story, hear your background. Like, what made you get into film photography, man? Let people know like where you from exactly. I mean, I know we mentioned Longview a couple times, but just what is it about Longview that made you want to do film and photography? If you can just
and
expound on
all right. So I got into filmmaking. I had a good teacher, and looking back over the years, I honestly don't feel like I had that many good teachers. But one teacher at the high school, his name was Mr. Palmer. He did something unorthodox. I took a media class because I seen my brother create some films, and this was back on VHS tapes.
that.
So it was a long time ago. And I
Right.
seen my brother do some cool stuff that it wasn't on par with what you see on TV, but it's way more than what I could imagine. I'm like, cool, I'm gonna take this class. And Mr. Palmer seen me fall in love with the editing process. And like every day I would come in, I would sit at the computer and I would just figure it out. So literally for the whole year, he let me do whatever I wanted to do because nobody else in the class really cared. So the other class had to do work that he had in his lesson plans. And I got to sit down every single day and just figure it out. And like he let me fall in love with it. And honestly, if he didn't do that, I probably wouldn't even be a filmmaker.
Wow.
Honestly. Because if I was forced to be on the news and do the news stuff, you know how we used to do at the high school.
Right, yeah.
I probably, because I went to school, I started college for radio and TV, and I walked out of one of my classes. I'm like, I'm not finna do this.
Right.
I quit my major right there and went to the art department and got into the film program. I was like, this is what I really wanted to do. So originally in film, I just wanted to make music videos. I was impressed with Missy Elliott's music video because it was always super. It's one thing to be creative. It's another thing to be creative and dope. And that's what her videos were. And and then when I found out that she would spend like $4 million on one video, I'm like, you mean to tell me as a filmmaker I can make $4 million on a 3-minute video?
Right.
That sounds like a good career for me.
Hey. Make too much damn sense.
So I went in full-fledged learning how to make music videos, and then something happened. I grew up. I developed a voice, and I realized that I can't depend on other people's music for me to tell my story. So that's when I branched out into leaving music videos alone for the most part and started working on my personal films and documentaries. So I'm going to create documentaries for the rest of my life because that's a good way to teach people.
Yeah.
But I'm also a horror filmmaker. So my lane is horror film, and that's what I'm developing right now. And I have an interesting twist on my horror movies.
And I'm gonna get into that.
Yeah. So what's up?
Because you drop 4 horror films, short films, right? Yeah. Is it 3? Well, it's Follow Me.
I think it's 3.
So we got Follow Me.
Follow
don't
Me.
Don't mess with the kids, right?
Yeah, that was the most recent one last Halloween.
And President of the United States.
And
because what I wanted to ask you, man, because you know, man, I watched all your short films. I always look forward to them. And what I noticed about your horror film is you always have some social commentary in the horror films. In between the horror. So I want to know, what is it about these films where you just don't do horror, but you add social commentary into it? Like, what's the inspiration behind that?
Well, honestly, I don't want to give too much because I have a generational plan. But my main issue is one thing. Hollywood promotes cowardice in the Black community. So if they're going to put money behind something, they got to make sure it fits their agenda.
Yeah.
And I'm not with that. So if you create, I remember people was raving about Queen and Slim. And when I went to it, I was like, I hope this is not going to end the Hollywood way. And it ended the Hollywood way. And it pissed me off because I'm tired of Black folk just creating film just for money, because films really change people.
Yeah.
And it shapes people's minds. And I feel like you're doing an injustice to your people when you consistently fall in that same mindset. And that's one thing I pledged to myself, not to be a coward. I'm not going to be a coward. So in my films, my people never going to lose. Right. So don't even go thinking, oh, I don't know. I'm going to tell you right now, my people never going to lose in my film. Ever. So you go ahead. Spoiler alert. I haven't
seen you lose yet, too, by the way.
Spoiler alert. I'm going to go ahead and let you know that right now, because like we've seen too many films like that. Like, we understand. And I'm not interested in profiting off of our trauma. Too
Yeah,
many
yeah, they
people
call
have
it love.
profited off our trauma before, so
Yeah,
let's see otherwise. And that's the reason why I get excited for some of Jordan Peele's films, because people who've known me known my lane for a long time. So when Jordan Peele dropped Get Out, a whole bunch of people hit me up. It's like, hey man, he stole your idea, or he stole your lane. And you know, a lot of artists get upset about that. I was
yeah,
happy because I'm like, he laying the foundation for me to come through.
exactly.
So I was happy that I'm not the only person who thinks like this and who will create something to where, because I don't think people realize that I was looking at this. You know, he dropped 3 films so far.
Hmm.
Get Out, No, and Us.
Us, yeah,
And I was like, and he was a producer on the new Candyman movie.
right, yeah,
And I made a post one day. I was like, do y'all realize in the 4 movies he was a part of, I think it was one black person died out of the whole 4 movies.
hmm.
And
See, I
everybody else
didn't
who
get from
died,
that.
was white folks. And I was like, that's pretty interesting because you don't really see that in movies. Like they don't
Yeah,
allow black people to be dominant and powerful and self-sufficient.
yeah,
Because normally in movies, if we are doing something, we have to have a white savior or a white
right,
help.
yeah.
That's what Hollywood pushes a lot. And I'm just not into that. Even as a kid, people used to say, well, you're going to need white folks for something. I'm like, why do we think like that? Because I'm pretty sure they don't think like that. For if they need us for something, it's for work.
That's
We're
it.
going to create it and we're going to make them work or we're going to make them buy it. I don't think think we need them to be successful.
Yeah,
Like,
you're right.
so that my whole narrative is I'm trying to reshape minds and reprogram minds to believe that we can do for ourselves. We can be powerful and dominant, and not even in the hatred sense, because um, I feel like when you wake up, you go through stages, and you're gonna be angry at one point.
Right.
I feel like I'm past the anger now. I'm not
Yeah.
even worried about like what's going on in the so-called dominant society. I mean, y'all did what y'all did. I applaud y'all. Y'all took over the world. How can I hate on that? I can't hate on winners. It's not in my blood. I'm like, you did that.
Right.
So what I got to do with my people is figure out how we can stand up.
Right. Right.
So same way y'all did.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that you have that win mentality, especially in the genre of the horror genre, because we always make a joke about it, but in horror films, the black guy always die first and
Yeah,
stuff. It's just like it happens so much. It's like it's not even subconscious at this point. It's like they consciously do that, just to show us our place in these horror films. So the fact that you're taking a different route, you know,
yeah,
is just, hey man, that's phenomenal to me, because I'm pretty sure it's a lot of brothers, which I applaud them to, a lot of brothers and sisters that are tapping into the horror genre, but they
yeah.
don't, they might not add that element to it, and they might not look at it from that perspective, and that's fresh that you look at it from that perspective. So I got to give you your props on that one.
Yeah, it's like the perspective. If you're looking at a 2D, it's 360 degrees of perspective. A lot of times people focus on there just one lane, and that's just 1 degree when there's 359 more degrees to look at. But we live in a 3D world, so imagine that's 360 degrees going in. I don't even know how many different directions, and that's
Right.
the reason why I applaud. And I don't. Everybody is not supposed to be a warrior.
Yeah.
I'm a warrior. I understand that everybody is not supposed to be me. So when somebody else, it's kind of like the battle between Martin Luther King and Malik Shabazz. Malik wanted Martin to be him. And even though Martin admitted to some of his mistakes, he's just not built like Malik.
Right. Right.
So we need to learn how to work. All right. I have this analogy that I use. Like there's 2 types of people. There's swords and there's staffs.
Hmm.
A sword is a weapon of war only. It's used to cut things down quickly, cause a lot of damage. And people gotta watch how you hold a sword. You touch a sword the wrong way, you're gonna get cut.
Yeah.
So the sword garners a lot of respect. But if the sword goes out, cut down everything real quickly without thinking, it's gonna get dull. And what uses the dull sword? You go to cut and you're not even cutting no more. Now people gonna lose respect for you. And the staff is not necessarily a weapon of war. You can use it to strike something, but it's usually the staff usually provides support, right? So people use the staff is soft and smooth to hold on to. People are comfortable touching it, even though it can hit as a blunt object. People use it to support certain things, right? And a lot of times the swords don't respect the staffs because you're like, we got to get straight to the point. And they don't see the value in each other. But there's a use for both tools, depending on what we need at this certain time. So my goal is to figure out, knowing that I'm a sword, how to be strategic in my cutting and also how to work with the staffs. So I feel like that's where our community failed in the past, is that everybody feel like you got to be in one lane.
Right.
And all right, this is how we think we got to ride. But I feel like we got to figure out how to use many different perspectives for one goal.
Right. And I love that analogy, man. If I was still rapping, man, I would put that in one of my bars, man. I ain't gonna lie, but I would have gave you a shout out,
Hey, you can unretire. I would appreciate that.
I think about it just for you, bro. I think about it, But since we talking about, different ways on how to skin a cat and whatnot, so I want to get your opinion, man, on the state of Black representation in TV and film at this moment.
Yeah.
Do you think it's in a good place right now? Do you think it's ratchet, stagnant? What do you feel about this? The state of Black TV and film right now, man.
I kind of disconnected from media a lot.
Yeah.
So Black representation in media, like on the news and whatnot, I really don't gangbang, right? So a lot of Black people, when I say gangbang, I don't mean Crips and Bloods, meaning I don't pick a side regardless, Democrats, Republican, like anything. I don't consider myself an American. Like I can't rock with this country. So I'm just looking for what's right. And a lot of people do gangbang per se, like they get in their lane and they just gotta rock with that. So I try not to consume that because I don't want to be influenced to get into gangbanging. So it's a lot of people I got respect for, like Angela Rye. The political work she does, I respect her for it, but she gangbang for the for the Democratic Party.
Yeah.
So a lot of
difference.
so it's facts. So a lot of the things she say, you can't be honest and just side with all Democratic principles.
Right.
It's like there's certain things on the other side that you agree with, and you don't want to say it because you gangbanging right now. So it's like I don't even want to consume it because it's not real. Yeah. But and also I used to not really care for this brother, but I really love him now. Dr. Umar Johnson. I don't know, because I love him now because he's funny. And I did have a problem with how he did a lot of things. He had this like preacher mentality to where if you not rocking with what he says and what he wants, he just kind of talk bad about you. I used to hate how preachers would be in the pulpit and they'll talk bad about people who not paying tithes.
Right.
Or they preaching and nobody hollering enough, so they may act like something wrong with the people in the audience. And that's how Dr. Umar used to act a lot. But I still see value in all of these people.
Yeah.
But moving like in the content creation space, I feel like it's moving in a great direction because of the internet and our ability to make money in many different ways. Like 30 years ago, in order to make money in media, you had to go through a power source that would pay you. But now I can create whatever movie I want. If I get the audience for it, I can get ad revenue from it. People will pay me because they know I got the eyes that they want for the product that they have. So I can create my content and they can give me money and I can be a millionaire creating exactly what I want. I don't have to go through Hollywood anymore. Yeah. So from that aspect, I feel like it's in a great space. Okay. But you know, everything is a double-edged sword. I hate the internet sometimes and I love the internet. Because the internet helps me travel the world.
Right.
Internet also killed culture. We used to go to Houston and we experienced a certain life. And then you would travel to New York and go to each borough and you got a certain thing in each borough. And go to Atlanta, you experience a certain life. But the internet kind of mushed all of that together. So now you got a Queens rapper sounding like he's from Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then you got a Texas rapper sounding like a Dallas rapper rapping like he's from LA. And so the internet kind of mushed all the culture together. But I don't know, it's like a double-edged sword. There's good things and bad things about it.
Right. Yeah, because you get more exposure to other cultures, but then at the same time you lose a little bit of the culture that made your region unique. Like I'm not really a fan of either of this genre of music, but you got New York drill music now. It's like
exactly
GDs and gang, but I ain't a gang banger myself, so I ain't forgetting into all that. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what I mean, it used to be so distinct back in the day, right?
Yeah.
So I definitely get your point on that.
Yeah, so and that's the crazy thing. Like you got drill music in England now.
That's right. Yeah, you do.
And like so, it's beautiful to see Chicago culture move like that. But I also feel like that's a toxic culture because it's like you just think about people used to talk about rap was a dangerous genre like back in the 90s. It ain't nothing like it is right now.
No, not even close.
It's like this dude I follow on Instagram called No More OGs. I think he said every week this year a rapper has been killed. Every week.
Yeah.
We finna be in October. That's crazy.
It was just a rapper that just died in Dallas. I never heard of the guy. Just died maybe last night. BFG strap or something like that. I don't no disrespect to that brother, but it's an unfortunate situation. But I mean, yes, it's different. I think it's just too much access now. Well, that's the double-edged sword you was talking about. It's like here you have this advanced technology where you could just get on your laptop, buy your mic and create some magic. But then at the same time, you can create depth, and that makes you more available when people know where you at now because you posting up your location.
All right, so speaking to your question about the media earlier, tying it into what we're talking about now, rappers dying. One reason why I don't consume mainstream media is because it's diabolical. All right, so I was in radio and TV school. My professor literally said, whatever station you work for, you have to abide by their agenda. And I was like, wait, huh? And she repeated it. And I kid you not, I literally got up, walked out of class, and went to the art department, changed my major. Because I was like, the evil of the media, people act like it's an accident. No, it's strategic, and they teach it in school. And so I knew what was happening when the media constantly brought up Chicago murder rate. They constantly brought it up. I was like, I know what they're doing. Yeah. They trying to condition the mind. They popularizing this to the impoverished communities around the nation. And it worked. Right. These kids are trying to outdo Chicago in murdering people in their own communities.
Yeah.
That's that. I have a cousin that worked in a juvenile correctional facility in South Texas. And he said that these kids in there were bragging, trying to say, no, we better than Chicago and murder. That's their goal because of what the media put out.
Yeah.
So that's one reason I don't consume media. I don't want to be influenced by these evil folks who have agendas, because they make money on all of this. They make money off our deaths. They make money like I asked my students, do you think that these record labels would ever fund artists rapping about killing white folks all day? And that's the first time they ever heard that question. That was like, damn, no. I'm like, so why do we only, because all of my students, 95% of them love YoungBoy, NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah.
And it annoys me. Mr. Fact, they'd be like, can we play some YB in here? I'm like, I would never play YB in my class. And I actually listen to his music because I like to connect with my students. I'm like, he not bad, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
I'm not finna give this to y'all. Like, I make them, so teaching every single 6 weeks, I give them a new muse. The first 6 weeks was Tupac. So I taught them about Tupac, like the real man, not what the media like to hype up. They was like, nah, he was a fake gangbanger. I'm like, Pac never claimed any gang. One of his best friends was Snoop Dogg, and he was signed to a Blood. Now, because he was signed to Suge and Suge got him out of jail, he showed a lot of what's the word? Love and respect to people who gave it to him. But I was like, when Pac killed, when Pac shot those 2 cops that was beating up that black man on the side of the road, this was way before any of Death Row stuff.
Yeah.
So his personality was always his personality. That's how he was raised to be.
Yeah.
Right? So he had principles. He was a principled man. And I make them to help out with literacy in the school, because I'm an art teacher. What we do is we break down songs. So listening to audiobooks help me out with reading. I have an imaginative mind, so I would read like a paragraph, and I create a whole movie in my head, separate of the book. So I'm daydreaming for 2 hours. Don't even realize it. So listening to audiobooks help me stay on task. So I'm like, that's what we're gonna do, except for I'm gonna use songs. So I print out the lyrics of Tupac songs, and we listen to it, and we follow along as the song is playing, and then we break down the lyrics the same way they would break down a passage on these standardized tests. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm playing music, and now they fall in love with Tupac. Hey, can we listen to Thug's Mansion again? Like, I really like, they come here and ask about this song all the time. I'm like, that's good, because originally they only listened to YB. I'm like, cool, what else you listen to? Just YB? Huh? You know, growing up, you had a lot of different favorite rappers. Same thing with me. And that's all they listen to is one artist. So who got control of their mind? Him.
YB. Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm gonna introduce them to a lot of different art to see if I could get them to grow more. So because the like I said, the media that got their fingerprints on all of this stuff, it's a reason why YB is as big as he is. And that's what people are gonna put their money behind. So if I can get them to listen next 6 weeks, we doing Frida Kahlo. So I'm gonna put a bunch of Mexican culture on and teach them that. Let's diversify what we listen to. And you may not ever listen to them again, but you're still gonna be influenced by that art.
Right.
Who knows what can happen. So that's one way I try to push the youth to separate and really look at their future.
Yeah. I wish I would have had a teacher like you, bro, when we was coming up. But at the same time, we had some good rappers to listen to back then. So I guess I had to rely on the teacher to teach us. But man, that's that's very a dope way for them to be introduced into some music. They wouldn't listen to it anyway, unless maybe they stumbled upon it on the internet. But like you said, generation they're attached to what I mean, hey, YB, I guess he speaks to them, and I'm showing my age because I'm like, I don't know this rickety rap.
Yeah.
Young boys, Chief Keef and them. I think Chief Keef a little older than them, but So that's dope, brother. But man, I want to get into some other stuff too. Um, well, that's a question I want to ask you because I noticed, with some of your content, some people might call it controversy. I don't. It's right up my alley. But
Yeah.
I want to know: is there like any subject that you wouldn't touch on film?
No.
Hmm.
My next film. All right. So another spoiler alert.
Uh-oh.
What I do with my films is I kill people that I feel like should be dead in real life. Point blank. Period.
I love it.
So my next, I have with me loving kids as much as I do, and hip to the underground life. There's a human trafficking issue in our nation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pedophiles out here. And one thing with me, I'm an extremely empathetic person. I like to understand why. I know why a lot of pedophiles are pedophiles because they were abused when they was young. And I heard this psychiatrist say that a lot of times when kids are abused, if they aren't helped and healed mentally, they stay stuck in that age until they heal. So that's what creates new pedophiles.
Right.
But I'm not into redistributing pain. I'm not into that. So I understand why R. Kelly is the way that R. Kelly is. Because he was abused when he was a kid. However, we can't create new abuse. It's like zombies. You was bit, became a zombie. Now you going around and biting other people, creating more zombies. So we just gonna have a whole bunch of monsters out here if we don't nip it in the bud. Right?
Right.
So in the schools, I'm in here helping kids, telling them the truth about healing and therapy and everything that I can, but also I want to protect them from being harmed. So I have a short film that this is gonna be my first film I'm taking to a film festival. It's called Savior, and it's basically targeting the people participating in human trafficking and sex trafficking.
Wow.
I thought that I was gonna get into the plot, but I'm gonna just chill.
Yeah. Save it. Yeah, we gotta say that. So, okay. I'm gonna hit you with this, man. Because as an artist, as a filmmaker yourself, and I'm not condemning. I just want to know how you feel since we talking about sex trafficking and whatnot. And this is due to a conversation I had with someone about artists. What's the word? Like creativity, like how artists creates content. And basically, I'm getting at the Ari Spears and Tiffany Haddish.
I know you shouldn't bring it up.
Yeah, right. I mean, I had to. Well, I mean, how did you feel? Like, is there a way to do content like that? Is there appropriate way, inappropriate way, or do you think that was too far? Or how'd you feel about that?
Okay, first and foremost, as a filmmaker and as a lover of children, they did that completely wrong. I understand trying to, because I didn't watch it because I don't watch child abuse. Right. I can't do it. I refuse. Like if somebody posted it and posted anything where it's a child being harmed, and I know that's what I'm finna watch, I'm not clicking play. I'm not consuming that in my eyes. So I didn't watch it, but based on the conversation, I know what he was trying to get at. He was trying to make a point, and it wasn't necessarily to be disgusting. However, I raised my kids with 7 rules of life, right? So anytime they mess up, I ask them, what is this rule? And then we discuss that rule. The first rule of life is respect everything. So if you lead with respect, it's going to keep you out of a lot of trouble. So with telling the story of potential pedophiles and how they may act in situations or whatever, the first thing you got to realize is that I'm not trying to harm an actual child while creating my content. So the movie I'm just talking about that I'm going to shoot, there are several adults who look like children. Use those adults, right?
Right.
And I don't want to accidentally traumatize a child. I don't know if those children were truly traumatized or not, but I'm not going to accidentally traumatize a child while trying to create some content.
Right.
I'm very protective over children, period. So I've been scouting for my friends because I still don't have funds to pay big time actors or even decent small level actors. I'm still in the raising money and trying to have money for that. So certain things I'm tapping into my peers. I have a few homegirls who are 30 years old and look 16. Matter of fact, my sister is 40 and look like she's like 18 years old. Like she don't age. So
Right.
in that lane, I would use these grown adults who look like children and work around it.
Yeah.
So I'm just not into trauma porn.
Right. Right.
Like I watched a movie that was actually a very good movie in the sense of good movies. Was it For Colored People? I don't forgot the name of it now. It's a Tyler Perry movie.
Is it about women? About the
It was a lot of
for colored girls?
women, huh?
Was it
For colored
for colored
girls,
girls?
I think that's what it was. For colored girls,
Felicia Rashad, Whoopi Goldberg, was she in there?
but I don't think they was in it. But anyway, man, I said I'm never watching this movie again because it was just too much.
Yeah.
Black woman trauma in it. Now, in the sense of good movies, it was a good movie, but
Right.
I'm not trying to watch that again. And I was like, if you really went through this, I'm like, that movie is not for people who really went through it. So I think
No.
they should have gave a disclaimer. It's like, if you experience this type of trauma, don't watch it. This is for people who may have never even thought of this type of trauma. So I'm not trying to traumatize people with content. At least I'm not trying to traumatize good people with content.
Right. Yeah.
I am literally trying to traumatize bad people with my content. To be completely honest, I want people to, like, if it's a racist person out here who really hate anybody, I want to put fear in your heart. Because in real life, I don't bar you.
Right.
And the thing about it is like people talk about y'all killing each other, but y'all ain't killed George Zimmerman. Quite frankly, we don't know where he at. But if I can find some kind of way through the space to touch him and affect him, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I want to like if I can get him to be upset about something and be like, Joker is one of my favorite superheroes. we can have that discussion if we want to. I won't get into it, but you know how the Joker is. He antagonized. Like he antagonized the Bat and get him to show his face. Now he's angry. I got you. Now I see where you at. Like, so if I could get you to come up, it's like hunting. I'm gonna put out the bait. So I want to traumatize the bad people of this world to show their face. So I'm not one who gets upset about open races. I love open races. I respect open races so much. It's the people who hide. Don't push these people into hiding, please. Because I would like to know who it is so I could act accordingly. Like I respect you.
Yeah.
Like you don't like me or whatnot. Cool. We don't have to deal with each other. But I don't went on that tangent. I don't forgot the question, but
I think you gave me a good answer, good enough answer. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully George Zimmerman ends up being a subscriber to my channel so you can see this. You know, come on out, man.
Shout out to George Zimmerman, man.
I know, right?
I respect you.
Breaking the internet one by one. So and yeah, because I know they don't know, but I already know how you feel about Batman. You know, which is an interesting thing too. You know, when you mentioned Joker. Hero. Did you saw the film Joker?
Yeah, I recently just saw like his personal film, like the film called Joker. I recently saw it, and how I always felt about Joker, that's how he was displayed in that film. It's like you keep messing with these so-called weird, soft, docile people. A lot of them are not soft. Some of them crazy. And like, if you keep messing with people and you bring the crazy out, I'm not condoning crazy actions. However, I know the possibilities.
Right.
And I'm like, Joker always fought for the weak, and he always fought against the elite. He always fought like anybody who bullied the weak. That's who the Joker antagonized. You didn't see the Joker walking around messing with broken poor people. So
damn, I like that. I like that. Hey, you're right though, because I mean, Batman. Bruce Wayne. Batman. He is an elitist at the end of the day. And if this was the real world, we'd be looking at no different than Elon Musk. All these other.
And the thing about it is, I was telling one of my students, I've been having these arguments since 2006. So nobody's going to win these arguments with me because I got almost 2 decades worth of research. Batman got a whole bunch of great gadgets created by who? A black man named Lucius.
Lucius Fox, yeah.
Who don't get no credit.
Hey, that's what they do though, right? That's what they do. They take all the credit.
Exactly. It was like, I can't rock with Batman. Batman is the representation of white supremacy in America. That's who he is. He's a regular person that gets plot armor. There's no reason for him to be great other than you just write it in the script. I'm like, in real life, Mike Tyson would beat the hell out of Black Batman.
Oh yeah, man.
He know every martial art. What does that mean? I don't. Batman don't use martial arts against martial artists. He used martial art against broke people who commit crimes to make some money.
Yeah.
I don't care how much martial arts you know if you're not beating up the bear. Bruce Lee will watch Batman. He's a fighter in real life against real fighters.
Yeah. That's the kind of Batman movie I want to see. I want to see one directed by you. I want to see how they go.
No, it'll be short.
I don't think WB let you do it, but man, if we can,
it'll be short.
Matter of fact, we need to do it. We need to do a campaign for that.
But you know what was funny was in the new Justice League movie. So I've been having these arguments for years. In the new Justice League movies, they aligned with my view of Batman. They made fun of him about not having any powers and just being rich. I was like, that's so beautiful. Like, it touched my heart. I think Flash made a joke to him. It's like, what do you do? And then, what's his name? Ben Affleck was playing Batman. I think he said, I'm rich.
Basically,
I'm like, thank you for being honest.
Once.
Yeah.
Once. So, I want to ask you about this project that you were I think you were invited to be a part of the project. It's called, Fire in Little Africa?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Another Longview person. Hey, while I'm on this subject, y'all forgive me. I feel like Longview, I call it God City. Because I feel like Longview was created to make powerful people, and we dispatched around the world to create change in communities. So my cousin, another Longview person, he's in Tulsa, Oklahoma right now. And he works for this nonprofit organization. And he convinced them to let him create a record label under the nonprofit so he can create an album to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the Black Wall Street Massacre in Greenwood, in the Greenwood section of Tulsa, Oklahoma. So thankfully nowadays, most people know what that situation is. Being in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I learned a lot of history about that situation. So what happened was, this literally happened a week before the pandemic hit. Wow. My cousin told me, like, in February, come to Tulsa this date. Don't ask me no questions, just come. And that was around my birthday. My birthday is March 26th. I think I went like on like March 11th, March 12th, somewhere around there. So I went, and I still got this orange bracelet on right now. This was my access to all of the events. And I went, and it was just about 70 to 80 Oklahoma artists creating music, from producers engineers, singers, rappers, painters. It was people that flew in from around the nation, like in Atlanta, whatever, just to be a part of this experience. And it was all organized by Stevie Johnson, which he's a DJ named DJ View. He got popular in Oklahoma because he went to OU, and he blew up as a DJ, which is weird because he don't talk much. Which is growing up, it's not that he was shy; he was just a man of few words.
Right.
And he went and he became a DJ, talking on the mic, being a preferred DJ. He DJ parties for KD when he was in Oklahoma, and like a lot of popping people. I'm like, it's crazy seeing my kinfolk on the mic, getting parties live, knowing his personality.
Right.
And he's still soft spoken, but he got a big voice, and he uses his voice now. So that whole weekend we was creating music, and it ended with the last day where we recorded was one of the dopest experiences of my life. Now I don't need no hate from you, big homie. All right, I know you're a 49ers fan. All right, but it was this Dallas Cowboy running back named Felix Jones that's from Tulsa, Oklahoma. All right, so let me give you some history. The guy who incited the riot, his name was W.T. Brady. He's the founder of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he was the Grand Wizard of the KKK. All right, he has a mansion in Tulsa that obviously, since he's the founder of Tulsa, it's a national landmark. All right, Felix Jones bought that house, bought his mansion. One of the biggest artists in Tulsa is best friends with Felix. In order for Stevie to create this project, he basically had to get in good with these Tulsa people. And obviously, an outsider coming in, you want to do this and what? You're not from here. They was off of him, but you know better than anything. To make it out of Longview, you can't be soft.
Right.
So Stevie stood in the midst of all of them, let him know his plan, and then let him know what he gonna do, and they ended up respecting him. So he got in good with that guy. His name slipped my mind right now. I would love to respect him and call his name. I'm gonna think about it for sure. But he got in good with that guy. Felix let them record this album in that house.
Wow.
So you got about 60 to 70 Black folks creating an album to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the Black Wall Street Massacre in the Grand Wizard of the KKK's house.
Wow. That is
not only this. Let me add to it. There was a legal Black-owned weed dispensary selling weed in that man's living room. And for the culture, I had to make a purchase. There was a chicken truck in that man's front yard selling chicken.
Wow.
Listen, the whole weekend was phenomenal. I met so many dope people. I met so many dope artists. The vibe and everything in that place was dope. And when I was there, I was getting a lot of information about the guy. And we all established I'm a horror filmmaker. So I found out it's two things special in the house. This man had a torture addict. He had an addict. I don't know if y'all seen if y'all watch American Horror Story. So there was a season in New Orleans about Marie Laveau and Madame, I forgot their name. Yeah. But that white lady, she had a torture addict to where she had her slaves up there chained up in cages and experiments. He had the same thing in his addict.
Wow.
I couldn't get access to that because it was through a secret way and it was locked up. But I found out that he committed suicide in his kitchen. 2 years after the massacre, he committed suicide in his kitchen. So I just sat in the kitchen for like an hour just to soak up the energy. And I realized I want to make a movie about why he committed suicide. So This was in 2020. We in 2022 now. I told my cousin I'm not gonna cut this wristband off until I write that movie. So I know how I want to write it. I went through a lot of transitions in my life since that moment. So mentally, I haven't been in a place to complete that task. But I'm tired of this wristband being on my wrist. So I'm gonna put myself in a. I'm not gonna be a liar about this. So
Right.
I'm not gonna cut it off until I write that script. And once I push that last period on the script, I'm gonna film myself cutting it off, and I'm gonna send it to my cousin. Send a video to my cousin, me cutting off the wristband. He already know what that's gonna mean.
Damn, that's man, you just dropped some heavy information right here, man. I mean, you've been doing that throughout the whole interview, but that right there, because I went to Tulsa and we went to the Greenwood Community Center to learn, some more in-depth history about, Black Wall Street massacre that, you really don't hear on national media and whatnot. And I
Yeah,
didn't even know that, bro. I didn't even know who incited the riot from that perspective. And then the man had a national historical landmark house, and the man committed suicide. Let alone that. So,
yeah.
man, I can't wait to see that movie, bro.
And the crazy thing about it is that nobody in Tulsa knew anything about the massacre either. When they said their grandparents and the ancestors did not speak of it. You
Yeah,
asked them about it, they said they'll go deathly quiet. Like it was so tragic that they didn't speak of it. It wasn't until like 2010 that information started coming out.
yeah,
So they
yeah.
basically learned about it when everybody else learned about it.
It's crazy.
And
I mean,
then they found people who would talk about it, and then they started because they tried to say it was only like 100 people killed. It was close to 1,000. It was
yeah,
probably, they said it was in the 900s of people were murdered, and it was
yeah,
even more thousands of people displaced. And what they don't talk about is that they rebuilt Black Wall Street, and
yeah,
this is where racist politics, systematic racism come into play. They rebuilt Black Wall Street. The way they destroyed every other black popping area is they ran major highways right through the middle.
yeah, yeah,
So you said you went to Greenwood. I'm pretty sure you exited off a major highway
yeah.
to get to the center because the center is right by a highway.
It's
They
right
ran
there.
these,
Yeah, right there.
they ran these highways all through
Yeah,
Black Wall, and that's how they destroyed it the second time.
yeah.
So
They did tell us about that information. And yeah, you're right. You can see like the it's a artwork on that highway right there.
yep.
It's yeah,
So that's the second way they destroyed it. But one of the reasons why I'm in DeSoto, I seen a news clipping maybe like in 2013. It said DeSoto is the new Black Wall Street.
Hmm.
I said, word. Why is that? So I did research. DeSoto is probably about 85% black population. Over 60% of the businesses are black owned in DeSoto. And once you go to the city, you're gonna see mansions everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
These mansions are inhabited by black families.
Hmm.
So in my middle school, they was telling me about it. I teach, my middle school is like 90% black kids. And the thing that's different, because we grew up in Longview, and the area of the town we grew up.
Yeah,
It's a lot of great black people. It's not a lot of black wealth.
yeah.
The black wealth lives out across the river. In DeSoto, it's nothing but black wealth. I
Hmm.
teach rich black kids,
Hmm.
which is very different,
Yeah,
extremely different. So the lady who hired me, she was telling me about it, but I didn't really see it yet. And then I started seeing these kids getting picked up in Bentleys
Hmm.
and Hellcats and Range Rovers and like all these nice cars.
Man.
And I'm like, these black kids with great wealth, but the challenge is they act like they come from where we come from or pretend to
Yeah,
be.
Yeah. I mean, why be, right?
Yeah. So my goal is to get them to learn how to use their privilege and really solidify DeSoto as a world power. Because
Yeah.
you have resources. You don't take your resources for granted. And also, I want to, because there's a, especially young men, we want to feel powerful. So they
Right.
want to pretend like they tough. But what makes us tough is actual life experiences and going through certain tortures that we have to go through. They don't go through these tortures. So I want to teach them how to develop that toughness without being stupid,
Right. Okay.
right? Because they don't know. It's like I grew up, a few people that I knew grew up for murderers.
Yeah.
And I seen, like, I look back in their life and all the things they went through hell. It's poverty. Poverty can turn a good man bad quickly. You starving. But they don't know how, they don't see that in DeSoto, and they don't know how to handle those type of people. So the 7 rules of life that I teach my children with, same thing I teach my students with. I tell them you have to lead with respect because you don't know who you're standing next to. You talk a lot here. People like these rappers that you listen to, the lifestyle that they live, these real murderers don't talk. I need you to understand that. So you sit here going back and forth with them, they probably gonna ask you what and let you repeat yourself, and then they're gonna escalate the situation very quick.
Yeah.
And you have to learn how to handle that. And if you don't, you're gonna be in some situations. And while you're in those situations, you're gonna be like, I have no business being here. Why am I here? You can just be asking these questions in your head while
Right.
maybe you're weak enough.
Yeah.
So I try to give them that perspective so they can protect themselves. Because you just said another rapper got killed in Dallas. I lived in the
Yeah.
so-called difficult part of Oak Cliff um, in 2020 and 2021. So it reminded me a lot of home. It was the same type of people I grew up with. So I was able to be comfortable, even though it was different from what I experienced in Dallas. But I understand now, and I left from Oak Cliff to DeSoto. So that's back to back. It's like a sharp change of
Yeah.
communities and environment. And I'm telling them, you're going to put yourself in that environment when you 17, 18, you get a car or whatever, you're going to feel like you're tough. You're not going to know how to handle yourself, and it's going to be scary. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. It's pointless to do that because these people in Oak Cliff want to be in your environment. They don't
Yeah.
want to live a dangerous lifestyle. They do it for survival.
Yeah.
And listen, and you have what they want, stop wanting what they have. Or I can help you get your toughness. You don't have to live in poverty in order to develop toughness. All right. So I get it. I'm not shaming you for wanting to feel like you can handle yourself, but let's learn how to actually do it versus being stupid and pretending.
Right. Right. Man, that's damn. I mean, you said more than I can say, brother, on that situation. You know what I'm saying? Let me see what we got. We got 5 minutes, before the wifey starts screaming at me. So before we end this, bro, because you mentioned something earlier about, yeah, been through some transitions in life, had some experiences in
Yeah.
life, which I guess was the inspiration behind this podcast that's coming up called "Why Did I Get Married?" Am I correct in
Oh
that?
yeah.
You want
So
to explain a little bit about
I'm
that?
recently I'm recently divorced. I got divorced actually February 14th of this year. I was officially divorced. And my marriage was completely traumatic the entire time.
Hmm.
And I've been talking to my peers, and a lot of us are going through the same exact thing. And I remember my OGs telling me before I got married, there ain't no handbook on marriage and it's not this and whatever. I didn't really get much wisdom on how to do it right. So when going through all the things I was going through and talking to my peers, we're going through the same exact things. I'm like, that's bullshit. Because obviously these things, since we all went through them, they could have been told to us or
Right.
whatnot. So I'm starting a podcast. Like marital trauma, I feel like is it was one of the most painful things I went through. And my goal is to help fix that because you got kids. You just had another uh, a child, and I don't want our children to come into mess.
Right.
So I'm gonna do what's necessary on my behalf to figure out how we can create more positive, healthy marriages and families because it's difficult. I have to be mentally present, right? But my daughter yearns for the atomic family. And I empathize with her and I'm sympathize with her. And I know that because I wasn't equipped with everything that I needed before I got married, I ruined that opportunity for her.
Hmm.
Because her mom and I should have never been together. But I wasn't aware of certain things that I'm aware of now, as far as alignment and boundaries and things across the board. So I'm creating a podcast to speak with different people about things, experiences that we all go through, because it's important. At least like when you're in a marriage, I'm not gonna interview too many people in a marriage
Right.
because there's certain things that's happening in the marriage that you're supposed to protect your marriage. For the
Yeah.
most part, you can't have everybody in your business. But for people who have so-called failed already, we I want the community to learn from us to prevent certain mistakes moving forward in whatever you want to do. So I just want to help marriage in the black in our community, any way that I can, especially fix it in whatever for our children. Because I don't want our children to suffer the way that a lot of us and our peers have suffered. Because divorce rates are through the roof. And
Yeah.
if you look at it, who's making money on all of this? Marriage in America is a probably $1 trillion industry. You got marriage photographers, marriage filmmakers, you got venues, you got people who plan it, you got that's all before you actually get married. Then when you get married, you got people I'm pretty sure y'all had so many people contacting y'all, hey, you need this and you need this home.
Right.
And then you got those people. And then when you get divorced, you got these lawyers who make they don't want marriages to stay together. They make the bag I paid for an attorney is ridiculous. So it's so many different people who makes money off marriages being made and marriages failing. It's a huge industry. And I kind of want some of these people to stop making money.
Right.
But the most important tip I can give before we get off the phone is treat your marriage like a business. Can you work with your spouse? Can you do your communication style match? Are y'all aligned in what you want and what you desire? Can y'all work together? That's one of the main things. Like, can you work with them? Because this is a business. If you don't believe it's a business, I gave my ex-wife a tremendous amount of love that can't even be quantified. Not once was love brought up in the divorce process. All they brought up was assets, things you got together. So understand when you go into legal marriage, it has zero to do with love. Don't think about love and because the way you feel about somebody has nothing to do with combining your life. You can feel good with somebody left and right, but you don't communicate in a way that they are receptive to it. So you probably shouldn't get married,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So it's a lot of nuance to marriage that here in America, because marriage in other places is different.
Yeah.
But America turned marriage into a pure business. So if you want to have those benefits of that business, you got to go into it thinking of it like a business. And learning all of that, I rethought about prenups because we think about prenups from a love based
Yeah.
mentality,
Right.
but marriage is a business. And a lawyer said this, and I was like, damn, if you don't create a prenup, there is already a government mandated prenup for every single marriage. Every
Hmm.
marriage has a prenup.
Yeah.
A prenup is just a um organized strategy. I mean, organized plan of dissolving the marriage. So there's already laws, like in Texas, part of the prenup is that everything is split 50-50 between that you get in your marriage. That's the Texas standard prenup. So there's a prenup to every single marriage in America. So either you can create your own or you have to use the one the government has. So it's not that I don't love you, but I doubt, probably say over 90% of the people don't even know that.
Yeah.
So it's like, what you mean you want me to sign a prenup? I'm like, ma'am, if you don't sign that prenup, there's already a government prenup for your marriage. So it doesn't, like, it's the same thing. Y'all can come up with your own prenups or how you want to dissolve if this doesn't, because it's a business. It's the same thing. Like if me and you start a business, you know what? It's not working well. This business did gain something between you and I. Legally, we have to dissolve it. It's the same thing. So,
yeah,
I don't know. The podcast is going to touch on a lot of that. I'm gonna be speaking with therapists, lawyers, and people who have been through it to see if we can share some information that can help people do what they're doing better.
Okay, yeah, that's hey, bro. That's deep, man. And hey, man, I really hope that go well. I'm gonna be tuning in, even though I'm in a marriage, but hey, I still tune in, and
Already.
that's word to Kevin Samuel. So shout out to you. But and throw that in there, boom, pow. No, but
Yeah.
before we get up out of here, bro, where can people hit you at, man? Where's like your social media outlets at, man? And I'm gonna put them up too. I'm gonna put like in the description.
Instagram is Bomani Pics. Bomani Pics for my content creation, and then Yahlik Nasir for my personal page. And then Facebook is my name, Yahlik Nasir Bomani. And those are the main two places right now. Okay. But hopefully with content creation, oh yeah, my YouTube is Bomani TV. It's a lot. I have a lot of ideas I plan on executing coming in the next year. That's gonna be very exciting. I hope I'm gonna execute it. So after I execute it, y'all can decide if it's exciting or not.
Okay, definitely look forward to it. And if you don't mind, promote it on my channel. So
already,
definitely, bro. Before we go, man, I want to know what's your top 5 films of all time since you're a filmmaker, man.
Number one is The Wood. Number one is The Wood, off bat. And I think it's because I closely relate with the main character.
All right.
Because you know me a little bit now, you know where we grew up. I'm a square of our neighborhood. I'm not like, I know how to handle myself in the neighborhood, but I'm not like these guys. That's kind of how Mike was in the wood. Coming from Winston-Salem, North Carolina to LA.
Right.
He was like, it was a shock. He different from everybody else.
Yeah.
So The Wood, John Q would be number 2. Especially now that I'm a father, that hit differently now as a father. Life, which is strange because I don't like trauma porn, but the movie is absolutely hilarious and I can't not laugh. It's
right.
Classic. I just seen a movie that I wanted to put in there and I can't remember what it is right now. I'm only thinking of older movies. I just seen a recent good movie.
You said The Wood.
I said The Wood, John Q, Life. I'm gonna lie on a few of these because these are some of my favorite movies, but I doubt they're in my top 5. But I'm gonna give a shout out to I Spy. I Spy is also extremely hilarious to me, and I love it.
Wow. Okay.
And there's a lot of horror movies I like, but I don't think they're in my top 5. I'm gonna say a series for my number 5. Okay. The Conjuring series.
Oh, okay.
of horror movies with Annabelle, Conjuring, The Nun, all of that. I'm a huge fan of that whole series. Like none of those
They be
movies
holding it
are in
down
my
for the
top.
role. Yeah, they be
Yeah,
holding it down. Yeah, sure.
yeah, but yeah, I loved it.
I'm disappointed, bro. You didn't put the All Eyes on Me biopic that just dropped recently. You didn't put
Boy,
that in, you didn't put that in
oh,
top five, bro.
hey, stop playing with me. Stop playing
That
with
should have been
me.
number two at least. At least two. No, I'm just playing.
All eyes on me, boy. That was terrible.
Oh man,
It's
you
been
see Jay Pinkett? No, I'm just joking,
nah.
bro. But man, hey, I just want to end it on a light note. But hey, for sure, man, I'm glad you took my call and graced us with your presence, bro. It was a great interview, man. For real, for real. This won't be the last time on my channel, and hopefully, man, I get to be on. Well, not on the Why I Get Married channel, podcast. I don't want to be on that one, but
Yeah,
some of your other, outlets and other channels and whatnot, man. So, hey, bro,
yeah,
keep doing what you're
and
doing, bro. Very
and
proud of you.
hopefully I will convince you to at least, especially as my movies progress and the bags come in, if I can get you to create soundtrack music for my movies, I would appreciate it.
Oh, I got
I'm
you.
gonna
I
say
got
it
you,
right
man,
here.
bro.
All right, cool. You're
I
talking
got
about
you.
you,
Give me an excuse.
You and Nick talking about this retirement, bro. I'm not going for it. I don't care how old y'all get. I'm not going for it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so cool. At least we can create content specifically for films. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Hey, if Jay-Z can still do it, I guess I can get up on my
Facts.
wheelchair and do a little something.
Facts.
Nah, but all right, bro, peace, life, and love and all that. I'm gonna have to work on my outro. But until then, holla.
Cool. All right.